So good afternoon once again, everyone. This is week two. I hope we're all catching along. We are getting along. Um, just for the new people that joined, please, I want you to stay muted. If you have any question along the line, use the chats box, right? Yeah. So today's week, for this week, we are going to be talking about understanding, or what we're going to be learning. Is understanding UX research, design thinking, and information architecture. Last week, which was the first week, um, we already started learning, or we are aware and we familiarize ourselves with understanding UX design. I gave us resources we should learn with, and the resources cut across three different category: book, articles, and a YouTube video, right? And I hope we all um read all of those things. Like, I want to believe we all read all of those article. And another thing is, I also hope that we didn't just stop at that. Like, we also went out of our way to also gather more knowledge about the topic. And that's what we should do, right? We shouldn't just stop at you know reading or watching all the videos or all the resources that I give to us. We should be hungry for more knowledge, and that's how it works. Let's dive into it. Thank you so much, guys. Before I get diving, right? As a product designers, as UX designers, when you encounter problem, right, the next thing you need to do is to find a solution around it, right? I was having issues with the software, live streaming, and I was like, what's the next thing to do? Like, I'm keeping people waiting. And the next thing is, oh, Google Meet, right, is another alternative. I can get it recorded, and after the section, upload it on YouTube, and we're here, right? Another issue I was encountering earlier ago was, okay, presenting my screen, and I need to make that happen. So that is one of the quality you should have as product designer, as UX designer. Let's say, for example, you are you design a product and it's out there, and users are having issue with a particular flow that needs to be updated. You need to quickly come up with the solution to that. You need to be very, very proactive, and that is what makes you a better designer. I just think I should share that to us also. Okay. Like I said, this week we are going to be learning about understanding UX research, design thinking, and also information architecture. Okay. So last week we learned about with or we are now familiar with UX design, and the UX design is the basis of it all, right? I know that most of us, when we think of product design or UI UX design, we think of Figma, we think of the tool, right? That is not a good approach to go, right? You don't just start to use the tool. Oh, let me start pushing pixel. No, you need to understand a whole lot of things, right? Using the tool, I can say that out of 100%, using the tool is just like 40% of it, or 30%, right? If you don't understand all these basics, right, you design principle, all of this basic UX, you need to invest yourself into UX, right? If you don't understand all these things, you won't even be able to design anything, because all those things contribute to how you design, to how you place your button, to some decision, your content, all those things, they go hand in hand. So let's dive in. For today, it's just 3 point agenda. It's going to be very short. About this week's activity, I'm going to be showing us the resources, and also there's going to be Q&A section. So about this week's activity, will be, like we all know, understanding UX research, design thinking, and information architecture. So for UX research, we'll be learning how to gather, analyze user data for user center design. So that's just what we'll be focusing on the UX research aspect of it. How to, you know, look for data, how to gather data, what's the approach you need to take. When you get the data, how can you even analyze the data, right? I know this sounds like, oh, are we like learning a little bit of data analysis, right? No, right? We're just, it's a very like very light surface, right, of data, like just how to analyze, how to interpret data, and all of that, right? That's what we're going to be learning, um, as regard US research. So the next part is design thinking. So for the design thinking is very, very important when it comes to UX, because most of the approach, most of the things you you do is centered around the design thinking part. You need to um you need to think through you know a lot of things, right? This is where your problem solving skills comes in. How you tackle, how you analyze a problem, how you prefer solution to it, all those things. That's where design thinking comes in. And one thing I want us to know is no one is like perfect, or no one knows it all when it comes to design thinking. So for example, let me give like a little scenario. If you join a team, for example, and you join, let's say after the association, you are now skilled as a product designer or UX designer, and you join a team. During that brainstorming section, during that section where everybody, oh, we are thinking of, okay, how to design a product, how to make it better, and all of that, everybody is going to be given equal opportunity, equal chance to to share their view, to share their opinion. And the reason for that is because at that point, your years of experience doesn't really matter. Like a newbie, even someone that doesn't know design, can even bring a very solid idea on how a product should go, right? So design thinking, that's what we are going to be learning, how to develop that skill in you, how to navigate through it, how to prioritize user needs and also business needs, all of those things, right? you know you are also going to be, that's one of the things you are going to be learning this week. And the last thing is information architecture. So information architecture is just like architecture itself, right? We all, like when we go out, we all see buildings, how they are well structured and everything, and we like them, right? So it's the same thing. It's like you are building your information in that manner. And what that means is that um, if you go on a website, for example, the perfect example is hero section. An hero section is when you go on any website, that first section that you land on, when you have the nav bar and the header, right? Those nav top bar, and also you have one big text and a short text and some call to action, maybe two, and you have images, right? That's what we call a section. So if you look at most of those, you see that they always, there's something common with all of them, right? There will be one very big text and one small text and call to action and all those things. And what that is about is information hierarchy, information architecture and hierarchy. Yes, right. What you like, what they are trying to tell you is that what they want user to see first, how they want user to navigate through the product, how they want user to, it's just like a manual. They tell you, okay, this is the first thing you need to turn on, then you do this, then you do that. Like that's the approach, that's the psychological approach, that how you should navigate through. So with information architecture, information hierarchy, and all of those things, you can guide the user on how best you want them to consume the information on your product, on your website, or any digital product that you're designing. So you get to discover how to organize information for intuitive user experience. Yeah, so that is what information architecture is about. So you can see that as we are, like, the approach we are going in learning UI UX or product design is like the foundation approach, whereby you start from the basics and you keep going until you get to that point where you now start to use all of these things that you've learned to now build a product. There is a lot, to learn before you even start to think of going into Figma, right? I want us to understand that and to prepare our mind, for that. Yeah, so that's all of the things we are going to be learning today, right? And for the resources, so there's a book we are going to be reading, and the chapter 7 is what I want us to focus on that in that book. And if we have, like I said, you need to be hungry for knowledge, right? You can as well, check out other chapters and read ahead of time. There's nothing wrong in there. So I'm going to be sharing all of these um, links, or everything to us, so that we can have access to them and go through them as our tasks for this week. So also there are 3 YouTube videos I want us to watch. The first one is the UX research method every designer needs to know. So in this video, it highlights all the research methods we need to know, when we need to use them, and what they are for. Like all those research methods you don't need everything in all projects, in all designs you are working on, or in all the projects you are working on. There are reasons why we use some certain UX research approach, right? So you get to know all these things. The other one is a beginner guide to information architecture. So this is strictly on information architecture, just a beginner guide, how you can easily understand and get yourself familiarized with this. And the last video is design thinking process for beginners. So you can see that the way I even structured all this YouTube video is on this topic, right? Like I said, I'm not going to be sharing resources, like bunch of resources that are probably the same thing or just everywhere, right? It's something tailored, something that when you watch, when you give your time to going through all the resources, you can, like, you are good to go, right? You are good to go. And like I said, don't just be too comfortable with those resources. Always be hungry. If you feel you need to go to YouTube again to search as regard the topic for other videos, feel free, right? Feel free. So the last resource is articles. So for articles, I try to because this week's topic is like, it's sectioned into like 3 subtopic, right? So that's why this article is up to 4 also, right? And the articles also are focused on each of them. So the first one is the comprehensive guide to information architecture. This other one is the complete guide to user research method. The third one is the complete UX design process. So I had to like add the UX design process for us, because we need to also still understand some things about it, right? Knowledge is never too much or a waste. And the last one is a complete beginner's guide to UX research. So if we give all our time to all these resources, if we read them, watch the video, read the book, digest everything, like we are good to go, right? We are good to go. And now we are now at the Q&A section. So like I said, if you want to chip in something, if you have any questions that you need to ask me as regard this week's section, or if you have any question as regard the previous week, anything you want me to know, your progress so far, your e-corps, anything at all that you need to know, just drop a message in the chat, and I'm going to attend to them one after the other. Please, yes, just stay muted, and if you have anything, just drop it in the chat, so this call or meeting won't be rowdy. Yeah, thank you guys. Okay. Olad said, please, what's the difference between a product designer and a UI UX designer? Okay. Um, it is very very easy, right? So, product designers and UI UX designer, we basically do the same thing. And what I mean by do the same thing is, as regard designing products, you know we do UI, we both do UX research and all of those things. But what differentiates a product designer and a UI UX designer is that a product designer is more inclined to business needs and also user needs. Like when a product designer is designing a product, part of the design thinking process, part of the approach he or she uses is, how can this product, how can this feature, how can this flow cater for user need and also cater for business need. Do you understand? But for UI UX designer, their main priority, the main priority of UI UX designer is the user. How can this product, serve the user best? How can this product? It's all about user, 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 user. For UI UX designer, they are more focused, tailored on design a product for best user experience and all of that. But product designer, think of user, but they don't just think of user, they think of the business aspect of it. That okay, placing a button here, pushing this content here, putting this card here, how can this increase usage of this feature? How can this help this company make money? So that's just the difference. So we are both the same thing, right? Product designer, business, UI UX. This thing has to do with business skill still, right? Not everyone have this business skill or how to think of, oh, okay, this idea, how can the business aspect come into it, right? That's why it's cool if you don't really have that business skill or approach, just stick with your UI UX pathway. But if you have this business skill, you know how to design a product that can convert, a product that can make money, that all those things, right? That's when a product designer role or tagline really fits you. So you can see that is the same per se, right? Right. So Olad, that's just it. Jola Emi said, my question is that can someone pick between being a UX? As yes, so you can pick being a UX designer and UI designer. So now, when it comes to product designer, UI UX designer, like we wear multiple hats. So when you're a product designer and you are a UI UX designer, you wear multiple hats. And what I mean by multiple hats is that in big companies, like all these big tech companies like Google, Amazon, and all the likes, right? They don't hire, if you're a UI UX designer or product designer, they won't hire you to come and do a job of UI UX designer and product designer. You know what they will hire you as? They will make sure that you focus on the sub category in the space. So now, like I said, we wear multiple hats, right? Under our skill, we have UI designers, we have UX designers, we have UX researcher, we have UX writer, we have product designer. Like I said, we have UI UX designer, people that still wear all the hats. So now, if you are working at Google, you won't be doing all of those things. You have to pick your strengths, right? So we all know that there are some people that are more inclined with pushing pixel. They just like designing. They are good at it. There are some people that love research, right? They are not really good at pushing pixel, but they can do research from now to tomorrow. They can do a well-detailed research that when a UI designer now make use of that research, the product is going to be awesome. You can just stick to being a UX researcher. If you are good at writing a good copy for product, you can go with the part of UX writer. If you are good at combining research to design, analyzing, auditing your website, product, and you can call yourself UX designer. So you can see that you can just focus on that need. But the thing is, when it comes to the job market, right? Because most of the companies, we only have few big companies out there that can afford to hire you as a UX writer, hire you as a UI designer, hire you as a UX researcher, right? Because they are very little, and we all know that the job market, everything is very very competitive. So that's why a lot of people wear that hat. You just have to learn everything. Even along the line in your career path, years along, you now focus on one part of it, but in the beginning, you just need to wear the hat so that when you are looking for that first job, that junior role, that first entry role, you can get into, the space, as a product designer or UI/UX designer. Then when you enter and you start building, probably your company now start to, split those roles and let everyone focus on different aspects. Then you can now, choose that part. I hope that is clear, Jolayemi. Abayomi said, what is the best way to carry out user research? Is it by interview or using survey? This is a good question. So, this is what we are going to be learning, this week. Like I said, in the articles, in the book, and also the video, like I said, there are different approaches to UX research, right? We have survey, we have user interview, we have card sorting, we have A/B. There is a lot, right? So we are going to learn all of these things and when to use them. We are going to learn it, right? For user survey, for example, if let's say you guys are introducing a new feature or a new product, or you are designing a new product, and you want to gather insights from potential users, you come up with research questions, right? Research questions like let's say the product is on travel, so the first question could be like, how often, one of the questions, how often do you travel? How often do you travel? Um, um, do you travel a lot? If you are traveling, what are the means of transportation? Which means of transportation do you use? All these questions. So your question needs to be very tailored to the product you are building, because you want to gather insight data that can make you come to a conclusion or decision on how to best design a product, or to even validate the idea. Survey actually works for that. When you're trying to validate an idea, okay, fine, you have an idea, your company says, oh, you guys want to introduce a new feature, and you guys are now having internal conversation to say that, oh, are users going to actually use this product? Is it going to make a difference? And you guys want to get clarity, right? Because when you're designing products, you don't just use your instinct, you need to validate with user. So you can use survey to actually validate that idea by putting in questions that are related to that, and push it out there to people, the target audience, the potential user, and the responses that the survey gets can now lead to you guys' decision to say, okay, this product, people actually want to use it, right? Now we need to build it. The response could be like, oh, people don't give a fuck about the product, and you guys can at that point make the decision either to discard or still go ahead with it. So that is how survey works. User interview is to get insight. Let's say, for example, okay, you are trying to solve a problem, right? You schedule a one-on-one call with a user that uses the product just to get their insight on how they are using the product, right? What are the challenges? How can you design it better? And all of those things. User interview comes in that way. But like I said, there are so many of them that we use during all of this section, and you get to understand what they are used for and when to use them when we go through all of those resources. I hope that is clear, Abayomi. Praise said, good afternoon, thank you for the resources you sent to us. They are really impactful and full of knowledge. Thank you so much, and I'm glad they are really, really helpful, and we are getting settled into the skill, and we've started learning something. This week is going to add to the knowledge we're already gathering, or all the knowledge that we're starting to learn. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I think that's all of the questions that I can see in the chat. If we have more questions, I think we still have like 3 minutes, and I can still answer them. But if there are no questions, we'll need to call it a day. And before we go, last week I said to all the group leaders that we are going to have a call, but it didn't happen because of some, certain reason. Last week was very, very busy for me as regard, work and some other engagements. But this week, definitely, I'll be having meetings with the group leader. We have like 4 groups. I'll be having meeting with them. I'll communicate that, later this week, so that I can get to know, how our groups are doing. Are people, active? Are they engaging? How can we make it better and all of those things. We are going to be, having that round table, discussion about that. In the case of no question, I think we'll just need to, wrap it up and call it a day. Until next time, you guys should have fun and stay fantabulous. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yeah.